Evening YouTubes, I better look at the camera. How is everyone? Today, slightly different. Off to the ABR in 2 weeks. This probably won't be out before then. But I thought I'd let you know what tent I'm taking and do a quick review, because we know what it's like carrying bikes on tents. Let's go back a little bit. Tents on bikes. I've got the same as I'm sure all of you have. Numerous tents, sleeping bags, sleeping systems, you name it. We've all got tons of it, haven't we? But as I get a bit older, I like to have a bit more space. So the bivy bag's gone, you know, the fly sheet, all that sort of stuff that you might have used previously in the bin. Not in the bin, but in the loft space in the workshop, which is over there. And I now use, or have been using, a Coleman Coastline 3 Plus. And what I'm going to do today, we're due storms tomorrow night, proper heavy storms, like a amber warning. So I'm going to whack the tent up in the garden so I'll get a good test before the ABR in a couple of weeks, just in case, because that gives me time to get seam sealed and all that sort of stuff, because it's a few years old now. But what I've done, if I turn the camera around, look, I'm trying to do this properly. So my tripod's there ready to set up. There's the tent. I'm going to measure it, I'm going to weigh it, and obviously I've got a rubber mallet because I think the ground's a bit hard at the moment. And I've got some new pegs which aren't fantastic for pushing in with your feet or your hand, should I say. So let's get it weighed first of all. And then what I'm going to do to save you lot being really bored is chuck it on time lapse while I put it up, so you can see roughly how long it takes to put up. So let's set my super cheap scales up. Let's give it a lift. Drop it down, and what does that say? That says 5.5 kilo, which is what I'd guessed, because I must admit, when I saw it said 7.2, I was a little bit surprised, because it doesn't feel like 7.2 kilos. Right, let's measure it, because that's the important bit for the bikes. I have to use two hands for this, don't I? So there we go. Width wise, we are looking at about 70 centimeters. Sorry, not width, that's the length of it. Width wise 15, something like that. And the height probably about 23. To be fair, that's probably more square. 23 there. What did I say? 15, 23, 23, something like that. So if we say 25, that'll give you an idea. But essentially, if that's strapped to the back of your bike and you've got your top box on, it's certainly not wider than handlebars, which is my normal go-to. If it's wider than a set of handlebars, then you're in trouble, which is why I always be careful with panniers and stuff like that. But that is definitely no wider than bars. It's not huge, you know, as you can see, it's not massive. So what I'm going to do now is I'll chuck it up, and then you can be the judge of whether that pack size, that weight, and the space it takes up on the back of your bike is going to be worth it. So let me get the camera on the tripod and let's start putting this thing up. So you can see me unpacking, and then that's just the new tent pegs that I've got. You can see they're a good shape, but they're difficult to push back in. So we spread the tent out, get the poles. They're color coded, so you've got two poles with red tags that go front and rear, and a black one goes in the center. Once they're all in, just start to clip them in and get all three ready so the tent's there. Then what I normally do is just pin the back down with a single peg, and then just start putting the front down, and then basically move around, attach the guys, spread the footprint out of the tent, and just basically make sure everything is good and ready to go. Fairly straightforward to put up, and it's not too bad. Well, hopefully you just see me put it up. Obviously that's the stuff left over there. Very straightforward. The poles are color coded. You've got obviously red tape around the edge of the sleeve there, and there's a red section of pole here. That's obviously an all black pole, and that's a pole with a red section. So it's very straightforward. The sleeping area is in this section here. That's your sleeping area, that's your accommodation if you like, with the space at the back there, which is nice. If I go underneath, you can see that the ground sheet obviously clips in, so you've got space there. So it does go all the way to the very end. Now the thing I like about this tent, I mean, it's big, without a shadow of a doubt. It's big. You've got additional vents there, which obviously you can velcro shut if you want, or you can use those small straps just to hold it open, and that gets a nice bit of air circulating. So the thing I like is the footprint's not too big. You haven't got to put out all of the ropes if you don't want to. I do, just to give it a bit more stability, but it's not massive, so you've got an extra vent there. Now the thing I like about this is you've got 3 doors. You have one there, you got your conventional door at the front, and you have another door at the side. Now what I'll probably do is I'll go through the side door, so I'm going to move that guy rope over so it's not in the way. So let me get that done first, and then we'll pop inside and have a look round. As if by magic, there we go. All of the zip flaps are velcroed. And obviously you've got plenty of places to secure, as you can see, securely fly sheet if you want. Now this area is massive. Obviously you can roll stuff up in there as well. It is plenty big enough to probably have 2 chairs and a little table if you want. You can also open the front fly, and if you've got a couple of extra collapsible poles from an old tent, which I'm sure we've all got old tents kicking around where the elastic breaks or the poles split, but for some reason, mainly because you're a bloke, you don't throw them away. And if you look, there's a couple of eyelets there, so essentially you could obviously lift this the whole way up and put a couple of poles in, and that would even increase the space that you've got for cooking, eating, ventilation and what have you. Now I'm a short ass. I'm sort of like 5'6", but as you can see I can't quite stand up. Right, that's me stood up completely. So, but as you can see, plenty of space. Right then, as they say on MTV, this is where the magic happens. Now that is a huge sleeping area. You've got a nice vent at the back there. Let me just pop my shoes off. You've got an eyelet there for a hanging lamp, but this is nice. That's a nice bit of vent, and as you can see, the vent goes all the way through, goes through to the fly, so you do get a bit of a breeze through there, which works out nicely. But it is massive. I can lay here we go, that's my head that end, and that's my feet that end. However, this way, there we go, there's my feet at the end. Oh. As you can see, that is my arm outstretched. So if you are well, 6'5", you're going to fit in this tent. There is tons of room, which is why I take it, because you know, you really can do a lot of stuff in this. A lot of stuff? That sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? I mean, you can have a good time away. No, that even sounds weirder. I'm not even going to go down the camping route, but anyway, you know what I mean. it is a very good sized tent for motorcycle camping. And the reason that I take this tent rather than the other tents, I do a lot of finger waving, don't I, is when you're on a bike, you've got a lot of bike kit, and there's nothing worse than being in a small tent with wet kit or just no space to put it. Now what I do is I normally put a cot bed out, sleeping mat, sleeping bag on top of the cot bed. The cot bed then gives me the facility to put stuff underneath it if I want, so I can put a suit underneath it, and I can obviously, in the space that we've got here, stack helmets, boots, luggage, you name it, it will all go in there. You've got pockets both sides. These are specifically designed to put your motorcycle keys in, ready for you to pack the tent up, load the tent onto the bike, load all your kit on the bike, get dressed completely, and then remember your keys are in there. That's the only reason these pockets were invented, is to put your bike keys in and do your tent up with them in there. We've all done it, don't lie, we've all done it. So there we go. Yeah, now the symbol on the side that you can probably see is supposed to be for blackout, but it's not particularly dark in here, let's be honest. It's not dark at all, but this area is what makes it. Now what I might do is I might pop up to the workshop, because let me stick my shoes on. I have got a couple of poles kicking round, and I'll give you an idea of what you can do with that. So let me go sort that out and I'll be right back. But as you can see, oh, obviously the other side does open up as well, so you can go straight through. Now in emergency, it is quite low, but obviously it flexes either way. I reckon you would get at least the arse end of a motorcycle in here, or the front end of a motorcycle in here. So if you got a puncture and it's raining, I reckon you could back a bike in. It would be tight, but it's workable. It's better than being out in the pissing rain. You'd get a bike in here. Potentially if you lift that, you get even more in. We'll have to have a look at that. But it would give you just that extra facility. This did come with a sheet that you can put down here. I don't use it because as I say, this is my cooking area, so I don't want anything that's gonna either get mucky or is flammable. But again, it's decent because it's got plenty of ventilation. Obviously don't cook with it all sealed up. I don't need to tell you that, do I? Right, let me go get these poles, and we'll see what we can do with the front end. So there we go, a couple of old poles. I mean, it's a bit of a bodge because there's no dimple to go in there, so obviously I've just put a very old tent peg in there just to hold it, but that would work. I mean, you could probably cut those down, put a pair in the peg bag, and then just a little plastic cup for the bottom, but that'll hold it off enough to obviously I haven't done it this side. Yeah, just to give you a bit of air and to sit in a bit of peace and quiet if it's pissing down with rain. Now what I'm going to do now is, as another thought, I'm going to get my new cot bed out. The one I used to have was an old military one that I had and used for many years in the army, and I'm going to use this FE Active cot bed, which is a nice small size, as you can see. It's, pick it up. It's not too big, it's not too heavy. I'm going to get it built up, chuck it in there, and you'll get an indication of more the size of that rather than me lying in it like a complete donut. Very quickly, for this cot bed, you've got a series of leg units which are elasticated and they snap together. You've got a few of those. What have you got? 5 of them. And then you've got 2 lengths of pole which basically locate into each long end of the fabric that you're going to sleep on. So you slot the legs in. Each place you've got a gap in the fabric is where one of these legs clips on. Very straightforward, very simple. So I'll get that done, get it laid out, and you'll get an idea of the size. Here we go. full length cot bed. I think these are 6 foot something, but yeah, as you can see, full length cot bed fits perfectly in there, and underneath you've got your space to chuck any kit that you need to. This also comes with another couple of handy pockets, again perfectly positioned for putting your bike keys in, so then if you don't pack them in your tent, in that pocket over there or either of those pockets there, you can pack it up in your cot bed, and then you can either decide, where are my keys? Are they in that pocket? Are they in that pocket? Because they're not in your trouser pocket or your jacket pocket. Right guys, I hope you found that interesting. Just wander outside, stick my scruffy shoes on, and that is my very quick guide of the Coleman Coastline 3 Plus. So recommended for your bike trips. I love it because it gives me tons of space, and as I say, you can modify it, you can do what you need to it. But I hope you found that interesting, and the next time you'll see that, well, you might have already seen it, will be at the ABR festival, probably with me rather drunk on some disgusting cider, which I regret the following day. If you're riding guys, stay safe. If you're not riding, watch crap videos, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.